In my late 20s and early 30s, I was already working with hands-on healing. I knew how to do Reiki, and I was able to access that universal energy very easy, and everybody used to say that I had magic hands, and they certainly did used to heat up, and people used to feel very much better from me putting my hands on them. I was also extremely intuitive. Intuition for me at that time was not comfortable because it gave me so much information about other people and about the fields of the world around me that I couldn't really marry with what I consciously, logically knew. So a lot of the time in my 20s, I was finding a dichotomy in that I knew stuff but was afraid to speak it, or I knew stuff yet didn't believe it. And there was a lot of self-doubt in me, which is something I see with people all of the time when they want to hear their own higher self, their own, and connect with their own greater consciousness, is that this pull and push between their logic and their consciousness, what they know about life, and what they can hear in their mind that feels good to them, can overcome anything anything they want to achieve. So from that time when I was starting off with hands-on, I then met Viv, and I started to sit in group shamanic classes, and for about 3 years was a participant in them. From there, I then began to use my shamanic knowledge of what I'd learned in myself and what I was learning from Viv with other people. So it wasn't just hands-on stuff that I was doing, I was inviting dialogue as to what my clients were hearing in their mind, feeling in their body, and sensing. Because a lot of the time intuitive is a sentient feeling, it's something that they sense in their body. And sometimes it's a cognitive thing, it's something that they just know. And what was happening was that I was hearing, seeing, knowing, feeling what my clients were experiencing at the same time. So as I suppose it was practice for me back then in my early 30s, as I was working with people with hands-on, I would then dialogue with them and start to build my own shamanic experience of journeying with people, although it wasn't formally done. That went on to me finding that there were often large emotional responses to the questions that I asked, which left me feeling quite vulnerable and exposed, and then led me on to exploring psychology, and in particular psychosynthesis, which is a psychology that was the first psychological institution in Italy, and it was set up by somebody called Roberto Assagioli, who was a colleague of Jung. Now, the difference with psychosynthesis to lots of psychologies nowadays is that Assagioli, its founder, believed that we weren't only our past, we weren't only our conditioned self. He believed that we were also our qualities, the things that we came to explore and express in the world. And he had a deep understanding of a spiritual presence within each of us. And that drew me to it and has added to my shamanic practice no end. And that today, coupled with modern mindset and the reframe of inner beliefs, I believe brings great power to the modern day shamanism that I offer to my clients.